They can't slow me down. They tried to slow me down the last one. I was just popping in, doing another live for everybody who got pushed out the last one. I'm gonna go ahead and do another one. Yeah, this is just for everybody who got pushed out the last live. I was just coming back on I was only gonna do it for an hour, but I didn't know when everybody got on here, so yeah, I'll do another one. Cause I wanted to talk about this anyways, but I wanted to discuss Boots Ennis and Teofimo. Eddie Hearn talking about that fight could happen in October. And that's a good move right there. Cause I didn't feel like Ennis would actually be fighting anyone that didn't have a belt. You know, as far as he was trying to go strictly into the fights with the for unifications, try to get undisputed. But I don't know, man. It looks like a move that Turkey is really invested in right now when it comes to Teofimo and Ennis. That matchup. And also looks like Top Rank, like I was saying last year, man, Top Rank, they trying to get rid of Teofimo Lopez. Top Rank is trying to get rid of Teofimo Lopez as soon as possible. They trying to get rid of him as soon as possible. They don't look at him as a guy who's gonna be able to carry that franchise as far as Top Rank. I just don't see it. I just don't see it. He could become a star, but I just don't see him becoming one right now. Because when he is put in front of the lights and everything else, he says something corny all the time. Then he's still doing the race stuff, talking about Jesus was black, and just immaturity, man. At the end of the day, that dude's dad gets a lot of passes. That dude's dad's worse than Bill Haney. Gets way too many passes for the crap he does. Gotta be the worst boxing dad in sports. Not even close. Might be worse than Floyd Schofield. Might be worse. But as far as this matchup with Eddie Hearn, talking about with Boots Ennis and Teofimo Lopez, yeah, this would be a good fight, man. This is something I'm actually, I was actually looking forward to last year when they was talking about it. And then Virgil Ortiz fight. So a lot of that stuff would make sense. It depends on how big some of these guys are. They're still in the 20s, moving up a lot of weight right now. What's up, Just 8 MMA? Yeah, hey, we in the game now. But Dana White ain't playing. That's funny. Oh, that's hilarious. We in the game now. I tried to tell them when I reported it, I said Dana White making moves right now. And he's moving in at the right time. You know, Dana White is moving in at the right time right now. A lot of big matchups being made. So he's not going to be a guy that's going to be asked to make a big fight. Because most of the big fights that people want to see are getting made. Or they're going to be made eventually. You know, with Turkey Al-Sheik's help. But he's not going to be in charge of that. He's going to basically just try to put something together where it's, you know, fights put on every 2 weeks or whatever he can start off with first. You know, you got to get the talent. But yeah, Turkey Al-Sheik making moves right now. First, they's talking about this Teofimo and Boots Ennis news, I want to say yesterday. And then today, you know, he's sitting down with Dana White and the WWE guys. I don't want to say the guys who own WWE. I think he was sitting down with those guys too. But yeah, a lot of people didn't think it was going to happen this fast, but Yeah, WWE and UFC owners. Today begins a new chapter in the history of boxing. Yeah, whatever Turkey Al-Sheikh and Dana White has planned, and Nick Khan of KO board member, whatever they have planned is going to be able to combat the things that's going on right now. Because they'll have to focus on all these big matchups. The only thing Dana White and these guys got to focus on is bringing in new talent that nobody's seen. You know, he's a guy that's more enthusiastic about seeing new talent come in, and that's why he'll sit down and watch newcomers coming in, and when they do the Ultimate Fighter. And I've kind of been studying the way he's selected fighters and the way he goes through the process. He'll get people that's on lower level platforms, like how they do in boxing right now with Pro Box. Then they have guys go from Pro Box, fight on Top Rank or a bigger card. So yeah, he's doing a lot of that right now. But yeah, the Dana White and Turkey Al-Sheikh move is huge. People didn't think it was going to happen this fast, but I knew it was. As soon as Dana White seen what he wanted to see last year, he said, oh yeah, I'm definitely going to make a move. This is the perfect time to be a boxing promoter. You don't got to have a lot of responsibility. You ain't got to make sure, you ain't got to come into the game and make sure that a big fight gets made, because that responsibility is already taken away. So now you're basically starting from scratch, like you would have been 30, 40 years ago. But what I want to see is what fighters would actually walk away from other platforms and deal with Dana White. Not to say that he's a bad person to deal with. I'm just saying, who would want to walk away from Eddie Hearn, these other guys? Who are going to be the first fighters? I'm pretty sure it's going to be guys that they let go just because they don't have time to deal with those guys. It could be talent like that, but I think Dana White's been in boxing and MMA longer than people realize, and he's got probably a long list of names he's going to go through. And from what I've seen as far as evaluating talent, he has the best process. Because he'll have a guy, I've seen him be lenient sometimes. He'll have a guy who's got 2 straight losses in UFC, give him a third chance. The guy goes on and wins 4 or 5 fights in a row. So he's going to have boxing looking a lot more different. But yeah, the business is rolling right now. Yeah, it's going to benefit fighters like Floyd Schofield, Dula Mason. If they opt in, I think Abdullah Mason is probably past that stage right now. Not to say he's too big for it, but I don't know. It could benefit him. I just don't know what the league is going to be like. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if it's going to be something where it's just fighters that's in that league and you have to be a part of that, like UFC. UFC doesn't really go out of what they do. Because UFC, they usually, they'll have their crop of guys they go through. But I don't know. That's a good question. Benefits fighters like Floyd Schofield, Abdullah Mason? I don't know. I don't know how many prospects are going to benefit. Well, I don't think Abdullah Mason's a prospect at this point, or Floyd Schofield. But I think it would be the guys who's like mid-level. Unless he gets a huge name to participate up front, then that's going to be huge. But it could benefit guys. I wouldn't say guys like that. I would more so say, what's going on, Nathan Wildman? I would say it benefits guys more so like Lamont Roach. Guys like Lamont Roach, Eastside Cruz before he fought Tank. People like that. Guys that was waiting around for the opportunity before they got it. I think that's where Dana White is going to make his name at. He's going to bring a lot of guys that's not really familiar with the fans, that fans not really familiar with, and that's going to benefit us the most. Yeah, appreciate Nathan Wildman for coming in. I had to come back and do another live. I don't know, they was doing some things behind the scenes, so I said, let me do another live for these guys. Anybody who was tapping in and wanted to talk about some things. But yeah, Eddie Hearn had said some news yesterday about Boots Ennis and Teofimo possibly being at the end of this year. What we're seeing right now is a different era in boxing. A lot of guys starting to step in, and they basically taking the sport and doing what they need to do with it. Everybody's been asking for opportunities like this. What I don't understand right now is boxers been praying for a guy to come in and be able to pay for certain fights. And the promoters have as well. Turkey Al-Sheikh is doing that. So they need to take full advantage of this and try to make as many fights as they can. And I was telling people last year was the year that most of the promoters were trying to put on certain fights, like Fury and Tyson. But this year, you see more fights like Benavidez Morrell. I know that wasn't a Turkey Al-Sheikh fight, but Turkey Al-Sheikh was involved from a standpoint of Turkey Al-Sheikh was involved from a standpoint of whatever Morrell and Benavidez does at PBC, I'm gonna make sure that they get an opportunity with Beterbiev or Bivol. So when that opportunity came along with Beterbiev or Bivol recently, he like, hey, well, we can make that happen, mandatory or not. That's the option right now. So most of these fights you're seeing this year, yeah, they're a part of what he's trying to do. Beterbiev and Bivol, we already knew that fight was going to happen last year. It would have been over already if he wouldn't have got hurt last June. But it's a better fight overall as far as for a trilogy, so it makes sense. He said Dana White said his league would be like UFC in terms of one belt, multiple divisions, and a UFC-like ranking system. Yeah, which is great. Which is great. Because he has an event on just about every week. I know UFC 313 coming up. Is that this weekend? Because I got to study. Yeah, that's this weekend, so. Yeah, I got to study that one. Matter of fact, when I get off of here. Native Wildman said, thank you yesterday. Thank you for what you said yesterday, bro. Oh, I appreciate it. Whoever said something yesterday. Was that me or? Yeah, I appreciate you coming through, man. Definitely do. It's a lot of good news coming out right now. That's why you guys gonna see me go live randomly a lot more. But it's a lot of good news coming out, man. Teofimo and Boots still having a chance to fight each other is huge. Speaking of Jermaine Ortiz on this picture, I would like for him to get involved a lot more at 140. He had a close fight with Teofimo, but Jerron Ennis, him having his next two fights lined up, that's good news. It's the first time we've seen that. Teofimo, him having his next two fights lined up, good. That's the first time we've seen that. So that's a change we're seeing as far as in the boxing game right now. And that's a good thing, man. This gives you a chance to hype up certain matchups. You can look ahead a little bit and see, the rankings actually matter now. The way guys are moving, mandatories are mattering a lot more. Even though, they still have tricks around that. But a lot of things starting to work out a lot more. Definitely starting to work out a lot more. But Teofimo, he has a hard fight coming up. I'm gonna be honest, live stream yesterday, and I was looking at the press conference. And what I noticed going into the fight before it even was signed up, that Barbosa and Teofimo is a matchup I've been waiting to see for about a year and a half now. And that's not gonna be an easy fight for Teofimo Lopez. Stanionis is not gonna be an easy fight for Boots either. But Barbosa's been studying this guy for a while now. The only thing I don't like is Barbosa, when he's very confident going to a fight, he looks regular. For some reason, when he's like a big underdog, he looks like one of the best. But when he goes into a big matchup with a lot of confidence, he looks kind of like he did when he fought on the Haney and Garcia card last year. But Teofimo knowing what his next two fights are, that's very important, because for some reason, it's been kind of hard to figure out who him and Boots are going to fight next. And what's funny is Barbosa was saying that Top Rank is trying to feed Teofimo to everybody now. I told everybody that Top Rank was trying to do that. They're trying to feed everybody to Teofimo Lopez. Whoever's interested in that fight, they definitely want to make him work hard for it. They're definitely not giving him easy fights right now. He's having it tough. And the word is out now. I told you Top Rank is very frustrated with Teofimo Lopez, the whole situation behind the scenes. But with him basically signing on to fight Boots Ennis, that's big news though. You got to get credit for that one. He definitely gets credit for that. Which means he's going to go up to 147. Yeah, hard fights is going to be great. They got to make this normal again. Yeah, 50-50 fight has to be normal again for the sport to even move forward. If it's not normal, we're going to have a long way to go. We already have a long way to go, to be honest with you. Like the rules and everything has a long way to go. The commentary is destroying the sport from the inside out. You know, a lot of people wouldn't have any trouble with most of these things that's said in boxing as far as the rules, and a lot of people wouldn't even question certain things if, you know, the commentary on a lot of stuff was valid. But they push a lot of narrative these days and don't really help out. It sells fights. Doesn't help out though. It definitely doesn't help out, especially when you see a guy like Lamont Roach give a tougher fight to Tank Davis than Rolly Romero did. It definitely doesn't help out. It makes you question why certain fights was even made in the first place. And it also makes you look at the past generations, probably not 20 years ago, but 10 years ago. Makes you look at certain things like, man, how long have they been avoiding trying to make the best guys fight each other? You know, when did that change? And why is it changing right now? It's changing right now because a lot of fans are being fed up, and also streaming is not helping. You know, people deciding to stream fights, not because they don't want to pay, but because they feel like they've been having certain matchups go away without seeing for so long. You still got fans out here want to see Fury and Joshua. That fight's not happening right now. So if I'm a guy who's the only fight I've been waiting on is Joshua and Fury, and I've been paying all these pay-per-views, you know, eventually these guys, they like, man, I give up. I'm not doing it. So that's really the pressure that's making a lot of these fights actually be made. Because the one thing they worried about is making the money and people buying the pay-per-views. But if you put on a good fight, nobody's going to really try to go out their way and stream a fight. Like when you had certain matchups in the past that sold 3, 4, 5 million, whatever, those were the matchups that people wanted to see. That's it. It's always like that. Even when Ryan Garcia and Tank fought, people were streaming back then. They still sold over 1 million because it was a matchup they wanted to see. So if they put Boots Ennis and Teofimo on pay-per-view, it's definitely going to sell. And you'll get a lot of time to actually promote the fight. And you don't got to say these guys are ducking anybody no more. Well, it might be a couple of guys that say ducking, but or ducking them, or they're ducking them, or whatever. But it just shows you that the fight is going to be able to get made easily. Most fights. Just got to request and ask for them. You know, the pressure got to come from the public. But a lot of the attitude as far as from the fan bases have been, I don't care who a guy fights, as long as he gets the knockout or whatever, and this is how you end up where we at now. But I say the only problems we're going to have in the future is scoring and rankings. Not rankings, but scoring and the rules. Those are the only things that are going to have trouble in the future. A lot of trouble, too. It's going to be a lot of trouble with that scoring and those rules. That's why I kind of go into the background with those rules right now. But as far as these matchups, I would say the toughest fight is probably, I like the Barbosa and Teofimo, but The Jose Ramirez and Haney fight isn't bad. And like I said, Jose Ramirez is more accomplished than everybody. He's the most accomplished fighter out there. He said the best should fight the best. Yeah, absolutely. It got to be normal. It got to be normal. Once Boots fight Teofimo Lopez, then he can have people kind of, stop bothering him about the not accepting fights thing, because from what I've seen, most people will accept the fight, but it just got to be presented a certain way. Some of these people are waiting until 8 weeks before the fight is scheduled to happen. They're like, oh, well, we're trying to get this fight done right now. I mean, bro, as long as I've been watching boxing, that never happens when you have certain people trying to set up a fight immediately. Because he knows about this same situation, Teofimo fight. Because I heard people say that he was offered a Teofimo fight before, so if he's accepted it now, and he's fighting Stanionis, he's doing exactly what he said he would do. He's doing exactly what he said he would do. Now, all the pressure is going to be on, I think a lot more pressure is going to be on Teofimo, because Barbosa's not coming to lose. And that style is going to be difficult. Like I said, Barbosa, his style is kind of similar to Barbosa. And if anybody really knows boxing like that, certain styles like that will give you issues. And that's why Jermaine Ortiz tried to go in there and fight like Kambosos. But it definitely didn't work out. But certain styles like that would definitely give you some issues, though. It definitely will. But yeah, that's crazy though, man. Dana White came out here and changed everything. I try to tell these people, man. A lot of these guys, they like the way boxing is going right now. If you're a boxing promoter, it's gonna be a lot of guys that want to get into the sport, especially with Turki Al-Sheikh involved. Because you're gonna have the financial backing. You don't have to really rely on networks like ESPN. As you notice, a lot of people are moving away from ESPN. They're going to Netflix. So those sports networks are going to be a thing of the past in a minute. And it's crazy how Jake Paul basically helped indoctrinate this Netflix situation as far as sports. Because his fight with Mike Tyson was the first fight. And they haven't had anything since, so he's kind of, that's the crazy part about it. You would have thought Canelo would have been the first guy to have a fight on Netflix or even a Tank, but it's a Jake Paul though. And I also noticed a lot of these companies that kind of crashed, like Showtime, they was investing in Jake Paul. So ever since I seen them going out of their way to kind of pay for his fights, I knew something like this would have to happen as far as for these athletes. Because the boxers who are really pro boxers that have been doing this for years and years and years, they're not benefiting from the Jake Paul situation. Not at all. I know people say the female fighters have or whatever. I mean, yeah, you can say that, but I mean, ain't nobody gonna watch them on pay-per-view because they had a good fight on Jake Paul card though. And then also, a lot of people don't even know the women that's really into sports like that. So that's why I said it's weird how they do certain things. The way you can build up sports these days, especially female boxing. If I was in charge, I would have all the females fighting each other so you can actually know who each fighter's name is. Right now, they only know a handful of fighters, so. But they are fighting the best at certain points. Some of these girls are fighting the best, but it's kind of like in that situation. But if I was in charge, I wouldn't even have rematches. It's too eventually people got to realize it's too much talent in boxing to have rematches. Way too much talent. That's the scary part about the whole Tank situation, because every time Tank fights somebody and it goes 12 rounds, it has to be a rematch. So could you imagine, even if he did fight certain guys that we wanted to see and it went 12 rounds, that would be a rematch after rematch after rematch after rematch. And dudes is only fighting 2 times a year, and that's a good number. But yeah, I know a lot of people understand that rematch point, but once you see fighters like Tyson Fury hang it up and say, I'm retired, you're going to start to realize, man, these rematches ain't really worth it. If you look back, you say, hey, was it worth it for Fury to rematch Usyk again, or should he just have fought Joshua? Should have just fought Joshua. Should he have fought Ngannou, or should have just fought Joshua? Should have fought Joshua. Should have just fought Joshua. If it was for the money, you could have did that. You could have did that after those fights. But now we have fighters retiring without fighting the best matchup they could have put together. But I like it though. It's everything I wanted to happen, so can't really be, you can't have everything. But I definitely like the matchups coming up, man. And I like that the talent is starting to be displayed, and they have a lot more platforms to actually go to and show people that they're part of the best and they can get things done. That's what I like about boxing right now. Because Teofimo Lopez, him fighting Barbosa and Boots Ennis, if he wins those 2 fights, certified pound for pound fighter. He ain't got to do the antics and all that stuff no more. He'll be a certified fighter, legit, super legit. Could be pay-per-view star at that point. So I'm glad he's actually taking the matchup. You know what I'm saying? I always respected him for taking certain fights and everything else. I can separate personal from fighter. But I've always respected that he was able to take certain matchups, even with Loma early. He fought Loma at a young age. He looked kind of shaky going into that fight. Days notice, dude was drunk, but it was a good fight. I gotta look that up. I don't know. I gotta look that one up. I don't know about that one. Fought a guy who was drunk from the crowd. Yeah, I heard about stuff like that. That's why they have all these fights like in Mexico at bars and stuff. Yeah, a lot of top fighters have actually fought in bars. I don't know about fighting somebody from the crowd though on a day's notice. That's insane. Less than a day's notice. Yeah, that's wild. I gotta look that up. That's a crazy story right there. But yeah, the sport of boxing right now is in a good place, man, because you're not wasting any of these guys' time right now. That's the one thing about PBC. PBC has put on a lot of good fights. They have put on a lot of good fights, but they have wasted a lot of people's time and money. Seeing Jared Hearn have to retire this weekend was horrible. Yeah, that's a super rare thing. Seeing Jared Hearn retire, I couldn't even watch the fight, man, to be honest with you. After the last one, I couldn't even watch it. Because I'm a fan of his, but, he fights super Mexican style. And I just couldn't watch it. Then he retires afterwards. Couple of losses. It's like, man, this dude ain't even. He took all the tough, hard fight. The fighters who take all the tough fights on the undercards. I hate to see fighters like that take the hardest fights on undercards, and then, you know, when it's time to have the big fights, they're not guys that people really look at as the big time fighters, which is crazy. That's why I was tripping out about the Rolly Romero thing. I'm like, how is Rolly on a main event? You know, Ryan's not, I know people say Ryan's a big name and he'd have sold the most out of all those people on the card, but Rolly though? I don't know if that Rolly Romero matchup is card. That's why I'm still flabbergasted. Like, why is this dude in a main event? That's insane. Yeah, he better come prepared. Not saying that he's not going to show up or whatever, you know, depending on what he does. If he shows up that day, that's going to be good. But the way it looks like he's going out there to get knocked out. To be honest with you, it looks like he's going out there to get knocked out. Teofimo, I can't say that. I think him and Barbosa are going to have a clash. That's why I said, if you give it real thought, that fight should have probably been a main event. They got more history. Ryan Garcia and Rolly are friends. Teofimo being a guy who's not friends with Barbosa. You remember him and Barbosa ran up on Teofimo last year when Barbosa fought on Virgil Ortiz card. Yeah, he ran up on Teofimo back then asking him to fight. So they have a real rivalry going on. So that's why at the press conference, that's what really took the headlines, and that was the focal point of the press conference, was Teofimo and Barbosa. Then Teofimo and Hitchens start getting into it in the crowd. And Hitchens said that, Richard Hitchens said that he will fight Arnold Barbosa next if Teofimo loses the Barbosa. Because I don't know if Teofimo is going to be able to fight Hitchens next if he got a fight lined up with Boots Ennis, so that's not going to be happening as far as Hitchens and Teofimo, but that would be a good matchup between him and Barbosa. Possibly could happen. Barbosa is not going to be an easy fight, so anybody who thinks that matchup is going to be something easy, you're definitely going to be surprised by a lot of things you see in the ring. If you think that's going to be an easy matchup. He said, yeah, his original opponent pulled out at the last minute. You talking about Pitbull? You talking about Pitbull? Probably Pitbull. Yeah, I mean, the Pitbull fight was cool too, but at 47, nah. I wouldn't be satisfied unless most of these guys is fighting at 47 or something. Yeah, I wouldn't be satisfied unless most of these guys are fighting 47s. Because you got to understand, a lot of this stuff feels like promotion when some of these guys talking, because these are guys who said they'll call out Terrence Crawford and fight him. Like, these guys, Teofimo and Ryan Garcia, have been saying that Terrence Crawford is ducking. You know what I'm saying? And you got people who don't keep up with boxing every day that feel like Terrence Crawford is not better than Ryan Garcia and Teofimo, and that he was ducking them. So in that case, my standards had went up. I'm like, they need to be fighting 147s. So with Teofimo fighting Boots, okay, that makes sense. Cool. Ryan Garcia fighting Rolly, I'm like, or then he had Esau Cruz, I'm like, bro, those are small guys. And Rolly at 135. No disrespect to him, but he wasn't dominating at 135. So for me to feel like at 147 he's gonna be causing havoc, he could be, because he is a big guy who walks around at a different weight, but I don't think those 7 pounds gonna make a difference. I have to look into it. Not making no predictions yet, but as far as the main event, I would have liked Barbosa and Teofimo better. But that's not really the flashy fight you would want to see. So I know a lot of people like, well, I'm not a big Barbosa fan. Well, I know that. Obviously, a lot of people not a big Lamont Roach fan until he's proves himself against Tank Davis. I mean, a guy has to get a chance to prove himself. You know, even being a champion. You know, these days, that's why belts is only one belt, like Just 8 MMA was saying earlier. Only one belt would benefit boxing, because even guys who do have a belt, they don't really get the respect of a champion. It's only based off of who you beat. So you can be a champion. It's so many belts in boxing. You can still be a champion and people say, well, you ain't beat nobody. That's why I start to understand now when guys say, oh, they only need one belt. I understand what they say now. Because having 4 belts is kind of like a thing you would do, because the world is so big, first of all, and it turns everything into a tournament style. Oh, Tommy Morrison? Oh, okay. He said Tommy Morrison. Oh, okay. Oh, I gotta look that up, man. I seen Tommy Morrison boxing in the ring before I seen him in that Rocky movie. I didn't see Tommy Morrison in that Rocky 5 movie until like 2000 or something. Like the 2000s. For some reason, I had went all them years without seeing Rocky 5. But that's why it was confusing when I seen the movie. I'm like, is the dude an actor or a boxer? I thought he was a boxer. Yeah, I need to go back and see that. I want to see a couple of his fights too. I haven't seen so many since back in the day. But yeah, I gotta check that out though. Yeah, they did that a lot back in the day. Grab a guy that I heard Canelo had fought a guy that was kind of unknown a little bit like that. Los Santos was a last minute guy. But yeah, I'm glad that Teofimo is actually fighting at 47 against Boots Ennis, because I've always felt like Teofimo maybe could move up to that weight and be a lot stronger. Some guys get stronger when they move up, depending on what kind of fighter you looking at, but some guys get stronger. And I don't think Teofimo's weight drain. You know, he mostly looks about the same size when he's walking around, and when he's in the ring. He's not really that small or anything like that. So he's a good size for 47. But Boots Ennis is a big guy though. But that should be a very good fight, man. That's a good matchup. That is something that's going to be able to be a game changer. Because once those two fights happen, that's something we never have to talk about again. Because a lot of people feel like Teofimo Lopez is avoiding things. They feel like Boots Ennis is avoiding things. Get those two guys out the way, put them in a big time fight like that. You ain't really got to speak on that no more. The only thing that'll be left for Boots, people want to see Virgil Ortiz, but as I said recently, that might be a bigger fight down the line. Not to say I wouldn't watch it now, but trust me, it's enough guys that feel, because that's been the biggest problem so far. That's been the biggest problem so far. Just the rules and everything have not been used the right way. It's crazy we got to argue about rules these days, but this doesn't really affect me like it affects the fighters. Because some fighters, when you get a loss, not that you're not good or anything, but it's going to be hard to come back from that. It's like really impossible to come back from certain situations as a boxer. So that's why a lot of times, you know, you got to make sure these rules are on point, especially with these fights. These are legit 50-50 fights. You can't favor anybody in these fights. I would hope not. I would hope not, but we got to see, man, in the future what's going to happen. But they definitely got to do a better job in the scoring. I feel like when on the Turkey out the sheet card, they did some good scoring. People had a problem with the Shiraz fight and with the scoring in that fight. The other fight, well, the Parker fight and Caviel, that had a knockout in it, but yeah, that Shiraz fight. I mean, the scoring was what it was, but I think a lot of people had the Tank and Roach score a lot closer. That's why that's a big deal. Oh man. So they got some news coming out right now that y'all are definitely gonna want to hear. Let me see this real quick, see if I can get this. So the WBA. Should I talk about this right now? It's off topic. Oh man. So the WBA just came out and said that that Steve Willis didn't favor Gervonta Davis in the fight. The referee from this weekend, they said that he didn't favor Gervonta Davis in the fight. I don't think that's the conversation that we were trying to have. He said, I remember incorrectly. Oh yeah, it happens sometimes. Yeah, Native Wild Man, that definitely happens sometimes. I don't think the question as far as was the referee favoring. I'm gonna be honest with you, I haven't heard anybody say that. I haven't heard not one person say that the referee was favoring Gervonta Davis. I haven't heard anybody say that. What I've heard everybody say is the referee messed up and he should have kept counting. What nobody else is saying is, oh yeah, I'm gonna say this for when I get off. But what I have seen is people saying that they're ignoring the counting he was doing. The man was out here counting, man. He was out here counting for a reason. But I seen that referee's been doing some trash stuff the last few fights, to be honest with you. He had a fight that he had in Japan. I forgot who it was. It might have been Taraji. It might have been Kenshiro Taraji. But I was watching the fight. I'm like, this Steve Willis guy looks horrible, man. He's been doing some bad stuff in this fight. And the Asian guy wasn't really messing up like that. He was, but not really. Not like how like Lacey was recently against Brandon Moore when he fell out the ring on that Carissa Shields co-main event. That was embarrassing. Not only for them, but for, you know, for the whole sport. And also, it's gonna make them hard for them to get into a fight again. Nobody's gonna want to put them on a main card after flipping out the ring like that. And Lacey did it on purpose. Then this is after you know, this already happened in another fight. But yeah, man, they dragging this stuff about the knee and everything else out way too long. Let me pull up what Native Wild Man was talking about though. But yeah, they're talking about that he had not been punched. He had not been hit with a punch before falling. There. Man, what? I'm gonna do a video about this. This is disgusting. There's nothing to talk about then. It doesn't take days and days to investigate. If y'all want to, if you're scared to change the score, don't change it. We know this. We know this still the sport of boxing. Yeah, we know this still the sport of boxing, so we ain't tripping. But if they don't want to change the sport, don't change it then. Leave it the way it is. Yeah, let me get this what Native Wild Man talking about. Cause this is crazy. Oh yeah, I see what you're saying. I'm about to follow this website, this page too. Tommy Morrison was huge too, man. That was a big dude. Country boy. Yeah, it's a lot of news coming out right now, but it's a lot of just bickering, little stuff, mostly opinions. Mostly opinions right now, but they starting to get the ball rolling, man. It's not too much promotion going on, which is very smart. Because last year, what I seen as far as boxing, I seen something I never seen before. I seen UFC have an event the same night as Canelo Alvarez has a fight in the same city, same area code. And it was an easy fight to really make. They didn't really have to struggle. That's the crazy part about it. They didn't have to struggle. You would have thought that most of those guys would have been like, nah, let's just wait until, Canelo fight ends, then we'll start the main event. But no, they had everything going. They wasn't really waiting up on anything. That's why I say Dana White's not going to have any trouble working with Turkey Al-Sheikh. He's not going to have any problems. I think him and Turkey Al-Sheikh do the same type of things. They actually run their events the same way. They run their events the same way. They keep things going throughout the whole event. Not too many breaks. Yeah, it just, in my mind, it kind of look. You gotta know that things are changing, because why would Dana White want to jump up and just make a deal with Turkey Al-Sheikh to even get in boxing? So it had to be something that Turkey Al-Sheikh was like, man, I like the way you do these UFC fights. You ever thought about doing this boxing? Because Turkey Al-Sheikh is a smart guy. He knows that Dana White has history with boxing. He's a very smart guy. He knows it. So I don't think he's going to be able to get these big stars, because I think that Turkey Al-Sheikh will have all the big stars fighting each other over the next 4 to 5 years. I'll just say 4 years right now. I was supposed to say 2, but I'll say 4. But after that, Dana White's boxing league should be hitting the ground running after that. And that's another platform in boxing. You can't really look at that as anything bad. And you need more platforms too. He said the ref could have waved the fight off after Tank ducked under the ropes. Yeah, they could. Man, hey, Native Wild Man, I'm glad you said that. As far as with the Tank fight being called off and stuff, he could have disqualified Tank a few times. The low blows, something that people didn't realize when Tank hit Roach with his shoulder. Also, when people didn't realize this, but Tank was stepping on Roach's foot. I'm talking about he was stepping all over his ankle, his foot, like holding him in place so he can catch him with a shot. Sometimes you can, feet get tangled, but man was literally standing on the man's foot trying to hold him in place to hit him. Like, come on, man. It was just a lot of stuff going on where it was like, trying not to be biased or anything, but everybody else who does that, they get points taken away. I've seen points taken away for less. I remember when people was complaining about Rolly holding on to Eastside Cruz. I'm like, bro, he's getting knocked out, bro. If he's trying to stand up so he can last another round, that's common sense. You know what I'm saying? He just stood and let the guy punch him in the face. He's holding because he's hurt. So, yeah, he definitely should have been at least had a point taken away or something. But disqualification, turn your back, goes under the ropes, wipe my face, everything else, takes a knee. Yeah, it was just a bad look. But I think they're making it, to be honest with you though, Tank's a big name, bro. The only thing that's bad about it right now is people are trying to continue talking about it. You know, that's the bad thing. They're trying to continue to talk about it. We've seen guys flip over the ropes and everything recently, and it hasn't been talked about like that. You know, being a big name too causes that popularity. Everything. That's why Roach is getting so much notoriety right now. But yeah, he definitely got off easy in that one. If you're a fighter and you get disqualified or you get points taken away and you do less than what Tank Davis does, you're going to be highly upset with the sport of boxing. That's why it's dangerous what they're doing right now. I don't feel like with Tank getting a loss or anything like that, that's gonna make me satisfied. Like, oh well, yeah, I'm glad he got a loss. No, I just want to see the sport, the rules in place, because we have way too many big fights coming up. And then we're talking about doing a big fight card in New York again after all the trouble we had recently. And I was a big supporter of fights being placed in New York last year, but it seems like the fans are you know, they was right about the New York thing last year. There was a lot of fans that was saying, man, we shouldn't have these fights in New York. But they have done good things up until this point, but too many hiccups. Way too many hiccups. It's way too many. I know a guy like Dana White, like, man, I'm not going to New York. I don't even know if UFC's had a event in New York recently. Let me look that up real quick. The last UFC event in New York. That was John Jones. Okay. So they did have one recently. I don't know why I watched that whole fight and it didn't feel like it was in New York. That's weird. Yeah, so they did have one with John Jones recently. I will tell you this though, it wasn't a whole lot of, you know, special talent on that card, because I don't know, maybe they got a history or something, but this is insane at this point. It really is. And the sad part about it is, like Aaron said, shout out to Aaron, like Aaron said earlier, a lot of people are really questioning the sport of boxing right now. They questioning the sport of boxing. The sport of boxing can make this fight bigger by, I'm gonna be honest with you, if Tank Davis gets a loss to Lamont Roach right now, comes back, knock out Lamont Roach, it'll be a bigger story, and him getting the loss will be irrelevant. That was a very good fight we seen. Like, let's take away the knockdown and the controversy on the scores. That was a very good fight. That's one reason why a lot of people want to see the rematch. That was a very, very good fight. That's why I say certain matchups need to happen. Certain fighters need to fight 3 or 4 times a year. Just because. If you can pay a guy to do that, cool. You're giving him 4 months off. Basically. What, about 3 months? You need about 3 months to really get prepared. So 3 fights. Probably got 3 months in between that to chill. In between each fight, you got a whole month to relax, really. And then you go right back into camp. So fighting 3 times a year, and you're getting paid close to $100 million if you're a big name guy. Yeah, that needs to happen. People will be willing to pay. They definitely would. A lot of people were happy about the card that happened last weekend. You got to think about it. We seen Bitter Biv and Bivol. Then the next week, we seen Tank Davis and Lamont Roach. That's all you really need right there. And I'm pretty sure you're going to hear that Tank Davis didn't have any issues with selling that fight. Even with another fight that just happened the week before that was big. So they always trying to say, oh man, we can't put these fights together because they're too big and they won't sell. The last 2 weeks show that that's a lie. It's a lie. Everybody's going to watch the fight regardless. That's the biggest lie ever. Nobody knew who these guys were when UFC first started. I remember when John Jones had first came to UFC. Didn't nobody know who John Jones was? I did because he wrestled in the same state as me, but nobody knew who John Jones was. You know, I was trying to teach some guys from UFC the other day. I was like, bro, the reason why everybody learns how to wrestle and box now, the reason why you just can't be a boxer and go to UFC is because of John Jones. Dude is a wrestler and he never wrestles. He goes in there, throws leg kicks. If y'all keep up with UFC, I'm gonna drop some hints on you real quick. If you watch John Jones' last fight, he did everything he could one time. He did a knee to the face, a spinning elbow, left kick, right kick, front kick, a jab, uppercut, flying knee, everything he could do. Takedown. He did everything once. So that's why guys just can't jump into UFC now and be like, hey, I'm just going to punch this guy and figure out how it goes. Nah, you can't beat a wrestler by doing that. So now in boxing, it's kind of like the same thing where you just can't go in there and try to knock a guy out every time. It's getting to that point now. You got to come in there and really, because if you look 2 weeks ago, most of the guys who won their fights on the Bitter Biv and Bivol card, they were mixing up combinations and also they were leaning on a jab. You know, they were leaning on a jab. If your offhand can be just as powerful as your power hand, that's just common sense. That's why Teofimo's having a lot of trouble right now. He's a good talent, but his offhand is terrible. It is terrible right now. Not to say he can't use it, but it's terrible right now. That's why in this Jermaine Ortiz fight, a guy could never come up that close to Teofimo without getting whacked with the right hand. But he ain't got that jab out there, so that's why he's leaning back. Usually he'll pop a jab in the guy's face, boom, immediately like that. But he's getting out jabbed lately, and you know that when you get in these tough fights, you want to be well prepared. You don't want to go into a fight where, well, I used to jab, but I don't no more, so let's see how this works out. That's going to be a bad combination. That's why him and Boots having a fight before they fight is going to be the perfect scenario. It'll definitely be the perfect scenario. But I like how things are going right now. You know, Eddie Hearn's not the perfect promoter, but he's putting some things together. I like the matchups he's had. I know when he did, like when he picked Andrew Ruiz, that's when I knew right then. I was like, Eddie Hearn is crazy. This dude to get a top 15 fighter and use him as a late replacement, which is smart because he saved a lot of main events like that, but you know, he's lost a lot of money. He could have easily just threw a nobody in there against Anthony Joshua in New York, got knocked out. So sometimes I understand what he's doing as far as business, and the other time, he's just being a competitor. You know, most of these people are doing in-house fights anyway, so this is the first time a lot of these big-time fighters are actually fighting outside of their conglomerates or top rank, PBC, whatever. First time a lot of these guys are. I think the Roach fight with Tank is outside of PBC, if I'm not mistaken. I know the Ryan Garcia fight was outside PBC. Yeah, most of these fights are outside PBC, but I mean inside PBC. So yeah, all Turkey Al-Sheikh is doing. Yeah, Lamont Roach is part of PBC. I don't know if he's currently at this point, but as far as I know, that's crazy. He's on PBC too. Wow, that's extreme. If you're a part of PBC, definitely don't want to get robbed if you fight another PBC fighter. Yeah, but yeah, I don't know, man. I'm just thinking like, what are people really thinking about the next guy who gets in the ring with Tank? That's the only thing I can really think about the last 3 or 4 days. Like, what happens to the next guy? Oh, you got Joey Gonzalez fighting this weekend, Nicholas Walters. They keep changing his dates. But that's the only concern I really have. As far as the knockdown and everything, they're going to change what they want to. But in the back of my mind, I just feel like this hurts Tank a lot more than it helps. Definitely think it helps. You know, another thing too, I'm tired of people sitting around. I seen people yesterday saying, you know, I'll say that for later on because that's a whole nother conversation. But these interviews with these fighters are getting wild, man. They got to start asking real questions. They got to start asking real questions. But I see a lot of people saying that Lamont Roach got robbed, though. I will say that it's a ton of people saying that. A lot of boxers are saying it as well. But it's a ton of people that's saying that you know, that Lamont Roach won the fight. So you really can't really argue with most people at a certain point. If a guy feels like Lamont Roach won the fight, and then it's professional boxers and trainers, then Robert Garcia, what, he said it was a knockdown. He just got trainer of the year. I don't know, man. It's hard to go against the pound for pound top guys and the best trainers in the world when they say, hey, I feel like Lamont Roach won the fight. So it's almost a guaranteed rematch is going to happen. It's almost like a guaranteed rematch is going to happen out of that situation. If it doesn't, maybe it's Shakur Stevenson or whatever. I know Lamont Roach want to fight. But if I was Tank Davis right now, I'll be negotiating with Lamont Roach right now and have the fight basically get announced. And that would take away from the knee and everything. At this point, it would just be talking about promotion as far as for the fight. They can kind of flip this into a good scenario where they can use the knockdown conversation as something they can use to promote the fight coming up. Because most people say, I'm not going to accept anything except Tank fighting Lamont Roach next. I mean, a lot of people said that. They're not accepting anything less than a fight with Lamont Roach. If he doesn't take it, it's going to be questioned in the future whether he's, capable of being a top of the line fighter. But I think he just ran into a bad situation, man, to be honest with you. Seemed very relaxed going into the fight, talking about retirement. People don't understand, man, all that stuff when you sitting around talking about retirement, and if I got one foot in, 1 foot out. And that's what happened. You end up being caught in a situation where you don't look as good as you should be. Teofimo's been in the same situation. But the bad part about it is where Teofimo is right now, maybe that's where Gervonta Davis is. The same place that Boots Ennis was last year, even though Boots Ennis got a knockdown and he got criticized. Maybe that's the place where Gervonta Davis is, or it might be behind that. Who knows? But I've told people for a while, the guys he's been fighting have not prepared him for guys like Lamont Roach or anybody. And I told people going into the fight, that's one of the most highly skilled fighters he has on his resume is Lamont Roach. And then another thing Tank validated was the thing that people say about him fighting guys who are weight drained. When you see how strong Lamont Roach is against Tank, that makes you really think like, okay, that guy was weight drained. But then it also makes you think about other fighters who was weight drained in fights, or that look smaller, then they had bad performances. Then they look better when they move up. So, it's been a lot of that going on. But I'm definitely happy they got this Teofimo and Boots Ennis situation out of the way early. So these guys you don't really got to go through and figure out who they're fighting next. I told everybody they're going to try to get these fights lined up before the end of the year. They're already like in May right now, June, scheduling fights. Turkey Al-Sheikh is scheduling fights in September, October. I would say the boxing industry, most of these people, they're promoting fights for like July, June, because, we're in March right now. So June is 3 months away. So yeah, you better be trying to put together fights for June and July, but Turkey Al-Sheikh is moving in October now. It's crazy. Another thing I'm thinking about is, will we ever go back to a point where promoters aren't working with each other? That's going to be the thing that promoters are going to have to watch out for. If they're not working with each other and they're kind of doing their own thing, eventually it's probably going to lead to fans not supporting in the future. Because I don't want to see boxing go through all this to the point where Turkey Al-Sheikh comes in and, he's making the 50-50 fights normal again. At this point, if I'm a boxer, I'm trying to build up certain fan bases. Even the companies that you have, you got to build up the fan base up until the point where even if these guys lose or whatever, they'll be able to bounce back. They'll have enough eyes on them. Because if I'm a guy like Arnold Barbosa and I got Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia on my card, I know it's going to be a lot of people tuning in. So I need to have my best performance I can have. So people will always remember me for the fight I had against Teofimo, even though Kambosa doesn't get that much notoriety for beating Teofimo. Well, he did until Devin Haney beat him. But I would try to do my best as far as, this is try to make a great impression. Try to make a great impression, man. Really are. But yeah, that's what they need to be. I can't believe this referee, the WBA said that about their referee. I got to look into that. That's crazy. But yeah, the sport moving in the right direction. But this is nothing but the new era of boxing. This picture they just put up a Rolly is disgusting. Yeah, I might not. I see why he going to 147, but I don't think I'm gonna pick him against Ryan. Still got a pot belly or what? What is this? No, I'm not tripping. Yeah, that's insane. Yeah, this dude more out of shape than Ryan. That's crazy. But yeah, I definitely want to see what Dana White, like 8 MMA said, just 8 MMA, he said, I need to follow him on MMA page too. But just like eight MMA said, Dana White making some changes out here, man. Dana White out here making some changes. Yeah, I'm glad he came through. I forgot to follow him. Yeah, Dana White is making some changes out here. Are there any more promoters that he will have a serious conversation with as far as fights? Because I don't know. How many partnerships is Turkey Al-Sheikh going to do? And what are they playing? He said, together we are developing the next generation of talent and delivering world-class events at a time when the sport is poised for further transformation. That's a good sign. That's what I was saying. So he is trying to develop the next generation of talent. Hey, I don't know. Just MMA might be right about that, though. He might put Abdullah Mason and Floyd Schofield on there. Yeah, you might be right about that. Because, you know, Top Rank at ESPN is finna be finito, so. Yeah, he definitely might be right about that. Yeah, at this point, man, we just waiting on the news to come out. It's a lot of news coming out, but a lot of stuff is old to me. They just talking about opinions and if somebody got a weak jaw or could they recover from a beating, or they're talking about Bivol having a mandatory. Yeah, but this the one about the WBA talking about Steve Willis, that's bad. That's definitely bad. I don't know if everybody caught that, but that's a bad look. They said the referee wasn't favoring Gervonta Davis. Nobody said that he was favoring him because he was the one counting. Matter of fact, the referee said that it was a knockdown before all of us. Yeah, but that's good news right there. So if I had to think of any other big names, you know, Inoue still needs to fight right now. They're looking into that. Teofimo has 2 fights. Ryan has 2 fights. Mostly everybody that's working with Turkey Al-Sheikh had 1 or 2 fights lined up. That goes to show the changes he's made. He's putting out basically a schedule early. You know, something that people used to do. But I think they have so many moving parts in boxing these days. And different guys going from platform to platform, but because, you know, they cancel fights these days like it's nothing. Or move the date back. Yeah, I've been seeing that go on a lot lately. Yeah, we got to see, but the sport is in a good spot. It's getting better. It's getting better. But people have to definitely learn from the things they're seeing. A lot of this stuff never happened before. So if we don't learn from it, it's going to be a lot of big time fights being had, but you won't really know the truth behind everything until a couple of years from now. I think that's the part that fans are missing. They're not really enjoying what's going on right now. So they're kind of looking ahead way too far. But they have to understand the best are fighting right now. It might not be the fighter that you want at this time, but you have to realize since this year has started, it's been more 50-50 fights. What, in the last two months? Than most of last year. You can't look up too many fights this year that wasn't 50-50. But the thing that scared me was when the zone, I think it was the zone or Matchroom, they was like, yeah, man, we're having all these 50-50 fights coming up. You might not ever see this again. Or this is something you never seen before. I'm like, first of all, as much money as you guys been making in boxing, you definitely need to be putting on 50-50 fights. Please, I know you're not bragging about asking me to pay for a certain amount of money for a pay-per-view, but then you're saying, oh, we're just now doing 50-50 fights. Nah, that's not something to brag about. What? That's like telling somebody, hey, I've been selling you lemonade for about 2 years, but now I'm starting to put sugar in it. Yeah, that's crazy. It's like going to Chick-fil-A and not getting any chicken. Yeah, that's definitely crazy. But what's crazy is Ryan said he always had issues with problems. As far as with weight and the test issues last year, he said, I've always had those problems. I want to show everybody that you can recover from anything. I want to show my dedication to the sport and be a real professional. Yeah, that was funny last night. Ryan said, we need to keep the integrity in the sport. They need to go ahead and give Tank the loss or the knockdown because so we can have the integrity in the sport still. Oh my, this guy's funny. It's hilarious, man. That was so funny. I don't even know if it was a joke. Today that said, God, I see that with him last night. I was so upset. I'm not even gonna lie. Dude had a photo that said God Osterine. I'm in a shirt that said God Osterine. Where is it at? Did I find it? Yeah, this is crazy. Look at this. Look at this right here. Come on, man. I'm surprised ain't nobody said nothing about this. The fact that nobody's even mentioned this. I mean, it's a crazy world out here, man. Make sure you look after your family and check on them because if stuff like this is becoming normal, we're in a whole nother section of the world right now. This ain't the same kind of world we was in 10 years ago. Canelo could have never got on before a press conference against Triple G and pulled out a shirt that said, you know, whatever he got caught taking, clenbuterol. If Canelo would have pulled out a shirt that said, you got clenbuterol, that would have been all over the internet. At the end of the day, you just gotta know, man, certain people are just too powerful. And not because they're powerful. Yeah, Chick-fil-A, yeah. Matter of fact, where I'm from is actually where I'm from has the first Chick-fil-A ever. It's funny because a lot of people haven't been eating Chick-fil-A that long, but yeah, where I grew up at is the first Chick-fil-A they ever had. Or going to other states. But yeah, a lot of places are just now starting to get Chick-fil-A. But yeah, this is crazy though, man. This dude sat around. He said, by the way, I'm fighting Rolly at 147. Let's get it. Oh, I know you are. Trust me, I know you are. I'm surprised you didn't say 54. He said the great thing about the current time in boxing is that we are all talented and at any time we can all get beat. To me, this is what boxing is about. Come on, man. Let's be real. And it's not to be a hater or anything, because, and it's the funny thing about it too. Well, and it's the funny part too. After Ryan lost the tank, wasn't none of these dudes out here supporting Ryan like that, man. The only reason Ryan is getting clout right now because he beat Devin Haney. When he beat Oscar Duarte, ain't nobody said nothing. Well, he didn't really beat him because he cheated. The fact that I gotta keep saying that the fact that the public got me saying that he won and he cheated is, it's horrible, man. I'll be honest with you. It's very bad. It's gonna be kids in school like take all the answers off somebody's test, and the teacher gonna be like, "You cheated. You stole all the answers. You cheated." They gonna be like, Ryan Garcia cheated, and everybody liked it. Ryan Garcia said some of the dumbest stuff I ever heard, bro. He said, I had a referee save Haney from getting stopped. Never called from Haney holding on for dear life. Bro, I'm not going to be lied to. I pray to God I don't see this guy on the street. This guy sounds so ridiculous. Still said I had a referee save Haney from being on the street. I mean, for holding on for dear life. That's crazy. This dude said Haney was holding on for dear life. I had a referee save him. Holding on for dear life? Bro, I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't like a guy who said all that racist stuff talking like this. I'll be honest with you. I really don't. You was on steroids, dummy. I would never be able to run across this guy in real life. Somebody said, Ryan, I know you didn't have Austrian inside of you because I was inside of you. He said facts. Ryan said facts. What the hell? This guy, what? This dude's, is he sure he's not high? What is that guy? What the? Man, I'm about to go ahead and end this live, man. Oh my God, bro. What is this guy have going on? I'm glad this guy feels like people don't. And you know what's crazy? Ryan Garcia, he really out here saying, people don't like me, man. They hate me so bad. If people hated you, why would they want to see you fight Devin Haney after you fought Tank Davis? Nobody sat out here and said, man, I want to see Rolly fight Devin Haney, man. So obviously nobody hated you. Get out of here with that Karen mentality you got, boy. Talking about you had a referee save Haney from getting stopped. Never called Haney for holding on for dear life. You was on PEDs, man. I would never get. Man, I'm gonna be honest with you. Oh my God, bro. This has nothing to do with the stuff he said or did, or I'm mad because of Haney and this and this. If you know my channel, I'm not on that type of stuff. But this dude talking like this, he is a drug addict. Period. Ain't no way he's not on drugs. No way this guy's not on drugs. And he's still on Twitter. This dude said, I ain't no hater either. I like Tank. I think he a great fighter. He had an off night and Lamont fought great, simple. But I'm tired of the inconsistency in boxing. It's effing weird. I had the ref save Haney from getting stopped. Okay. How about me and him have a boxing match, right? So since Ryan Garcia thinks cheating is not bad in boxing, how about Ryan Garcia has me and him set up a boxing match? And you know, I just don't follow the rules, and I have a knife in my hand instead of a glove. You think he'll be like, oh man, the referee, he sounds stupid. And you got kids that's running around having kids that talk like this. This is why you have guys go on all kind of random weird acts. You had a referee save Haney, and you was on steroids. So if you would have killed Haney in the ring, you would have been proud about that? And you would have thought that would have been okay? This is why this dude, and I'm trying to keep him cursing, this is why this guy does not deserve to be on Main Event. This is why this guy, I got to make a video about that. I got to. This is why this guy does not deserve. This is why I don't trust him in a ring with nobody. Nobody. It could be somebody I don't like. I don't trust him in a ring with that guy. This dude is a freaking idiot, man. This dude's an idiot, man. This dude's an idiot. If sports keep going this way, I'm gonna have to go back to watching basketball or something. This dude's an idiot, man. This dude sat up here and said, why didn't they let me commit a murder in the boxing ring so I can go to jail for the rest of my life? Is this guy really that stupid? Is Ryan Garcia on the internet right now? This March 2nd? This guy really asking everybody why didn't a referee let him commit murder in the ring when he was on drugs? All right, man, I'm gonna holler at you later on. Yeah, this sport is gonna get exposed, man. This right here, I'm gonna holler at you later on, Wild Man. Thanks for coming through, bro. See, Wild Man, a real dog, man. He support me. I appreciate that. Never overlook real support. Yeah, everybody subscribe to Native Wild Man too. I seen you put a video up earlier. I'm gonna repost it on the page. But this right here, y'all, this is proof right here that y'all gonna let this little pipsqueak who never been a champion in boxing, y'all gonna let him tear down boxing. I don't want. That's why that Tank stuff y'all talking about, man. Please, y'all just saying that because Tank black. If Tank was Mexican like Ryan Garcia, y'all wouldn't be saying nothing. This right here is proof right here that this dude is gonna destroy boxing. He goes in there again and he's dirty. I will never watch boxing ever again. If he goes in there, he's dirty again, I'll never watch boxing again. I know people will say, oh, we don't care. Good. I'll never watch boxing again, though. And to be honest with you, MMA fans are not as weird as boxing fans. And I'll go a step further and say, not that racist either. Yeah, I took it there. They're not that racist either. I will say that. I will say that. Those guys, when I watch UFC, they actually picking fights because they want to win some money. When I'm watching boxing, they just want to see a black guy get knocked out. This is why lately when y'all see me doing fights lately and I come on late, it's because this, what the hell is this, man? What is this? This dude shouldn't be boxing right now. He talking like this on suspension. This dude just did a press conference for a fight while he on suspension. Man, this dude shouldn't even be talking right now. This dude shouldn't be talking. This officially right now lets me know for life, I'm not picking him in any fight, so don't ask me. I don't trust him. I will continue to expose this clown. And that's it. If boxing wants to sit up here, it feels like Ryan Garcia is the biggest thing since Floyd Mayweather and Canelo, and they feel like he'll carry the sport, yeah, brass knuckles. You're right about that, Nathan Wild, man. If they feel like he's big enough, he gonna carry the sport, this is disgusting. They would just had Josh Padley out here get trolled because he got a job, and he trying to box, and he got a 9 to 5. He got 2 careers. He boxing and he electrician. It's hard enough trying to do one of them. He doing 2, and all of a sudden people like, oh, he's trash. He a trash European fighter who has a job. He has 2 careers and he's a bum. Only in boxing you have 2 careers and people call you a bum. But you'll have a guy who comes in here and cheats. That's why, man. Oh my God. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I've never hated a Mexican fighter to the point where I've been okay with him getting cheated. I'll just let you know that right now. So the way they're kind of pushing boxing, it may be a while, it may be around for a long time, who knows? Depending on how all these big fights go over the next couple of years, maybe you have a whole bunch of people walk away from the sport. Just because we having big fights don't mean that everybody's going to be satisfied when all these fights are done. Y'all got to realize that a lot of people already complained about certain fights and scoring, and we haven't even got started yet. So just because all these big fights are happening, don't think that this is going to be, oh, well, this is a good thing. And yeah, if they know what a knockdown is, if they know how to score a fight. This dude came out here and said a referee saved Haney from getting stopped. Never caught Haney for holding on for dear life. Bro, if you would have hurt that man seriously, you'll be in jail right now. What are you talking about? This dude is a drug addict, man. The only people that talk like this is guys who do drugs and stand in front of the gas station. These are the only people I've ever seen in my life who talk like this. People that really do drugs their whole life. This man, did Ryan Garcia really just have a press conference yesterday while he was suspended for being on PEDs in the same place that he got suspended from, promoting the fight that he's going to be headlining after being suspended? Then he's fighting the weakest opponent on the whole card. Then he comes out this weekend and says he's mad because a referee didn't let him commit murder. And we got Ramadan going on. Turkey, what you got going on, man? You don't see what he said about Muslims? Turkey, what you got going on, dog? Please let me know. Because last time I checked, Ryan Garcia said something about Muslims. What did he say? Yeah, they don't even want to put it up. You got to go through all kind of trouble to even find out what he said, man. This is embarrassing right here. I'm gonna be honest with you. Out of all the boxers that came into boxing, y'all sitting up here embarrassing American boxing for Ryan Garcia? Out of all the people who fought, even Mexicans and guys who came over to America and fought, out of all the people that came over to this country and fought and gave their life, you got guys who can't even feed themselves. They can't even put the spoon in their face right now. And this dude is bragging about doing that kind of damage. We got guys who's sitting in wheelchairs right now that can't even speak. We got guys naming their YouTube channels Punch Drunk because most of the fighters that's punch drunk is the black guys that sat up here and had fights with guys who was on PEDs. Because I don't see a whole bunch of other fighters that have to sit up here and get pushed into fights on wheelchairs and can't talk and they slurring. And those are the guys who's in the tough fights. Y'all better take that racial aspect out of boxing, man. I ain't gonna shut up about none of that ever. You're just gonna make it worse, to be honest with you. You're just gonna make it worse. Cause it's a difference when I post a video and somebody else does. Trust me, YouTube already let me know that. They don't like when I bring up Ryan Garcia because they like, you going too hard. You're exposing him too much. I ain't exposing him. I'm just showing y'all what he did. He the one on here trying to expose everybody. When he talking about the elites, I'm trying to help him out. Man, this is disgusting. Oh, man. Sport of boxing is going the wrong direction. Yeah, this dude, I'm just reminding everybody, they threw American boxing in the trash for this guy. They threw American boxing in the trash for this guy. Really did. Then you had some little LGBT guy come up here and say, Ryan, I know you didn't have Osterine inside of you because I was inside of you. Ryan says facts. Dude got to be a drug addict, bro. He got to be on something. He got to be on something. And I don't want nobody sitting around running. You know what's crazy? It's going to be somebody's child. And God forbid it happens, but it's going to be somebody's child that end up in the hospital behind fighting one of these. Because what's crazy is, if these young guys who's able to get their hands on stuff like Osterine, if they want to fight as an amateur or something, backyard boxing, whatever it is, they're going to try, one of these guys are going to try to get their hands on that stuff and going to hurt somebody very badly. And you know what name is going to come up in that report when they doing the police report? That somebody's in jail, when they stand in the courtroom, they're going to be like, where did you get this Osterine idea from? Oh, well, it's a guy named Ryan Garcia and ESPN and everybody, you know, they still promote him. So I just took what he took. He's a professional boxer. He was exonerated. They set him up. It was a B sample. So you're going to have guys that's in the amateurs. You're going to have kids that's in the amateurs, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. That's rich, that can afford Osterine. They're going to go in there, beat a guy to death, go to jail for it. They're going to say, hey, why am I going to jail? Ryan Garcia did the same thing. I think people might think boxing is a video game, that this is Grand Theft Auto. You just going to wake up and, you know, you're going to be back at your apartment, or you're going to be back at the police station. I think they think this is Grand Theft Auto. You just going to respawn and, you know, that's it. Yeah, okay. Why don't y'all ask Alexander Povetkin about that? See, what people don't know about right now is, because a lot of channels don't talk about it because they compromise. They only can talk about the same thing that ESPN is talking about because they're in the group. But a lot of things they're not talking about is a lot of people are getting caught taking PEDs right now, and they're retiring. A lot of people are retiring right now because they don't want to get caught with PEDs because the country they in is suspending people for 8 years. In the UK, they don't play around with PEDs. That's why you have some people that come to America to put on a fight if they can't fight in the UK. They have tougher rules in the UK than they have in America. So maybe the UK has earned the right to be biased because they protect their own. They ain't out here trying to see nobody get destroyed because they trying to win an argument. Well, let me see the black guy get knocked out by the Mexican or whatever. Like, bro, if that was normal, bro, that wouldn't be a big deal to you. The fact that that's a big deal, it kind of shows you that it's not something worth arguing about. Because that's really where it comes from. Oh, man, let me see the black guy get knocked out by the Mexican guy, so I'm satisfied by that. Wasn't nobody running around here saying, bragging a lot about Tank stopping Ryan Garcia? That's why I'm kind of confused about all this. If that's the biggest fight in boxing in the last couple of years, Ryan Garcia and Tank, you would think that all of us would still be bringing that up. But no, we don't. I bring it up, but most people do not bring it up. They're going to talk, in 10 years from now, they're going to talk about Tank Davis taking a knee more than they're going to talk about Ryan Garcia doing what he did. This dude is disgusting, man. Why are people at this time right now? It's a lot of people that's, you know, they like what he does at this point right now. It's a lot of promoters that like what he does. I've seen promoters, certain guys complain about the cards after a fight. I've seen Eddie Hearn face get red when a guy said, man, I won that fight. Eddie Hearn like, he'll never be on one of my fight cards again. But you doing a fight with this guy again? Come on, man. Quit acting like you got standards. You're basically agreeing with everything he's agreeing with. You know, certain guys just can't get canceled. It's crazy. A guy with 2 pay-per-views can't get canceled. That's insane. 2 pay-per-views. Never been on pound for pound list. Never been a champion. Can't get canceled. But, let's get John Jones out of UFC. Let's tell the best boxers who's fighting everybody who don't need a turkey out of sheep to put on a big fight. Let's tell those guys to retire and get out of boxing. But not this guy. Let's, you know. That one situation, him going 12 rounds with Haney, it was just worth throwing the whole sport of boxing under the... That's crazy. Y'all got to realize these people are insane. They're okay throwing the whole sport of boxing under just to win one little argument about a guy they didn't really care about. Because if you did, you would have made sure his fight with Duarte would have been a pay-per-view fight. I follow Ryan Garcia thoroughly. That's why I knew what weight he was going to be at. Now, all of a sudden, everybody know, Ryan Garcia's a 47. He can't make 140. Oh, why you didn't know that a year ago? I understand y'all starting to listen now, but you only listen to what you want to hear. So the only thing that everybody's learned since Ryan Garcia failed the PED test is that he can't make 140. Everything else is good. The only thing bad is he can't make 140. This dude is literally still out here. This is crazy to me. This dude is literally still out here talking about, I had the referee save Haney from getting stopped. Never call Haney for holding on for dear life. The same Devin Haney that was walking you down in the 10th round, 11th round, 12th round. You telling me that Devin Haney don't got the privilege to hold on to you after he got hit by a PED punch. And I've heard multiple boxers sit up here and say they won't fight a guy that's on PEDs. Teofimo said he wouldn't fight Ryan Garcia because he wouldn't take a PED test. Teofimo said last year, I would only fight Ryan Garcia if you take a PED test. He said it's like August, September or something. He said, then they asked him about Boots. He said, yeah, I like Boots, you know what I'm saying? Wasn't really thinking about fighting Boots at that time. But he like, if I fight Ryan, it got to be PED test. Rayo, it got to be PED test. It got to be VADA. Now, Lamont Roach is not a power puncher. He's not a knockout artist. But guess what they did with Lamont Roach? Had him testing on VADA. Why is Tank testing Lamont Roach? Lamont Roach ain't no knockout artist. I thought PEDs don't matter in boxing. And took a point away from me without no warning. Man, this dude is insane, man. They took the point away from you and you still, and they still scored the fight as if you didn't get a point taken away from you. What are you talking about, man? They sound like somebody who's afraid to do the same thing they did last time. And then Rolly up there talking about Haney the whole time. Bro, you ain't fighting Haney. That's why I say I do not want to see Rolly fight Ryan. If he does, Ryan, retire that guy, man. Because he ain't really no benefit to boxing right now. He jump up to fight Ryan Garcia, but he won't fight Teofimo last year. He turned that down. He wouldn't fight Devin Haney last year, before that, years before that. But you gonna fight your friend? I don't trust that. I can trust Lamont Roach fighting Tank because Lamont Roach came to fight. I can't trust no Rolly coming to fight no Ryan Garcia. He don't even fight these guys who's not his friend good. So he supposed to go out here and fight his friend good to the point where I'm going to be invested in it and talking about it for the next 2 months about how I'm so ready to see him and Ryan Garcia fight. Come on, man. Let's be honest. That Ryan Garcia versus Rolly fight might be the last time we see Rolly in the main event. Should have been the Tank fight, to be honest. No, the Ishmael Barroso, the old man. When the old man stood up here and stopped him. But this guy has no responsibility he takes, though. No responsibility that he takes. This goes to show me right now that if you're a fighter right now, let's just say you're a top fighter. Let's just say I'm Ryan Garcia. If I'm Ryan Garcia and I'm fighting Tank Davis again, this is the rematch. What if a day or two before the fight start, I go up and I use a little PEDs, you know, I juice up a little bit, and I say, you know what? They didn't care when I knocked down Haney and I failed the PED test. Let me try this against Tank and see how everybody feel about it. See, that's what people don't got. That's what people got twisted. It's going to be certain fighters, they're going to get to a certain person, they're going to say, you know what? Nobody cared when Ryan Garcia used PEDs. Let me use PEDs against Canelo. Let me use PEDs against Usyk. I mean, as long as I get the knockdown and win the fight, nobody will care. They can't unsee what they saw. Once they see it, you know, they can't, you know, all they see is the left hook. Yeah, you can let me be a professional boxer right now. You can let me be a professional boxer. I'm not a person who cheats, but man, I will be so close to taking some Ostarine in a big fight. Oh man, I go up there and juice up against a guy like Canelo, go out there fighting one time, retire. Then everybody will have to explain how. Ryan Garcia is getting credit for the Devin Haney fight, but I ain't getting credit for a Canelo fight. I mean, I use the same thing he used. I use Ostarine too. Why y'all mad at me? Because I got the stoppage against Canelo. I thought y'all said PEDs don't matter. Yeah, y'all done messed up, man. Integrity of the sport is gone. I mean, guys have always used stuff, but to openly know, you know what I'm saying? To openly know that the tooth fairy, you know, ain't real. You know how that goes. That's not a good day. That's definitely not a good day. He's talking about all this just angers me. Bro, this angers me. Why you ain't do this against some of these other fighters? That's what I don't understand. Why you ain't do this against Tank? That's what my thing is. I don't really have too much of an issue as far as things getting solved, but at a certain point, I'm like, why you ain't do this with other fighters though? I mean, sometimes you gotta ask that question. Anybody who concerned will ask a, you know, simple question. Even if you're a parent, you're gonna try to figure out who your kids' friends are. So you just gotta teach people to watch their environment. But yeah, this right here is disgusting though. It really is. I am no hater either. Bro, I'm not a hater either, but guess what? If I disagree with you on this situation, guess what everybody gonna call me? A hater. Because you know why? The media has done its job to basically, and I blame, if anybody has a problem with Turkey Al Sheep being in boxing, I want you to blame all these channels that have millions of followers and subscribers or whatever. And I want you to blame all the mainstream guys, reporters. That's why it's confusing to me right now why Turkey Al Sheik is hiring so many reporters that helped run boxing into the ground. You got a whole bunch of reporters that have been saying Lomachenko was the best pound for pound fighter we had in the last 10 years. But then they said last year he duck and tank. Nah, that can't be the pound for pound guy you was talking about for the last 10 years. Can't be him, right? So yeah, man, the misinformation in boxing is disgusting. But this guy right here, come on, man. This dude right here mad that he wasn't given the opportunity to go to jail for cheating somebody in boxing and taking their life. Bro, this sport right here is on the way to being cooked. If you're gonna put boxing on this guy's shoulders, it's over with. It's over. It is over, man. I feel sorry, bro. Like the fans who co-sign this stuff, they don't care about boxing. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't care about boxing. That's why Jake Paul is in the situation he's in right now. A lot of people don't care. It's a lot of reasons they don't care. But seeing a guy celebrate it, that's why I said Barry Bonds, if I was Barry Bonds, that's why, if you notice recently, I'm telling you too, because I know about industry stuff. If you notice recently, it's a reason why they had Barry Bonds coaching the All-Star game for baseball recently. Eight months after they said that Ryan Garcia cheating in boxing on PEDs is not a big deal. But now all of a sudden you got Barry Bonds coaching all-star basketball games in the NBA. But that's the same guy you tried to shun out all these years. But now that he knows, hey, they out here saying a professional boxer that use PEDs is not a, he's not in the wrong. They saying that PEDs don't matter. But when I hit 800 home runs, they talking about I'm a cheater. I need to be banned from baseball. I'm not even in the Hall of Fame. I'm the all-time leading home run hitter. How is this guy getting the pass? He got suspended for a year? And they saying that PEDs don't matter? Why are they suspending baseball players? I mean, what's worse, hitting a baseball or hitting somebody upside the head? Nah, you can only go to jail for one of them, so. Yeah, this is a bad look, man. And the worst thing about it is, the Ostarine and stuff that Ryan playing with, that a lot of people are getting suspended like 8 to 10 years right now behind that stuff. That's what he don't realize. So history is going to show that, hey man, and if you're a boxer that got suspended for 8 to 10 years for using Ostarine, I might be pulling out some lawsuits. Me personally. If I'm a boxer, I'm probably thinking about suing certain, commissions or whatever for suspending me for 8 to 10 years. Cause it's boxers right now that's for using Ostarine. In Europe though, a lot more. Europe is a lot more, Europe has different kind of food. They don't have all the, the bad chemicals we put in food. I'm not saying it's the perfect place, but I'm telling you, everybody I've come across, even my girlfriend who's stayed over in Europe before, she'll tell you the food over there tastes better, it tastes cleaner, and they don't have all the chemicals in there. And they do the same thing with boxing. They don't have all them chemicals in boxing. They don't have all those chemicals in boxing. And they have fighters over there that's getting suspended for 8 to 10 years for using Ostarine. But in America, they saying, as long as the guy doesn't commit murder, because if he does, he's going to go to jail for life. That's why I'm looking at this Ryan Garcia tweet and I'm like, so if you would have hurt this guy, you would have went to jail. Let me see, banned Ostarine Let me see. Boxer. There's a lot of boxers that have been banned for using Ostarine. But for guys to get banned that long, a million years after he lost, Amir Khan went out there and lost and got. Let me see. Povetkin got some years put up there. I know Povetkin was bad. And he failed the drug test the day after the fight and before. That's bad, man. I wasn't even trying to bring this up, but it's just amazing to me. And what's crazy is I had a dude that was wrestling that was on PEDs, and he looked like a freak. The dude was like 100 pounds. Bro, we had a dude that was he was on PEDs in high school. And I kept saying to everybody that was on my team, I said, hey, man, because I was around bodybuilders growing up. I said, hey, that guy look like he on steroids. And we like in high school, don't even know about steroids like that. And people say, why you say that? I said, bro, oh yeah, they mess with my thing, so that's my time, man. I appreciate everybody for coming through, though.